Chapter 7 Test. The king who ruled England during the time of our Revolutionary War was King Henry VIII, King George III, King Edward I, or it was a queen instead. Number 2. What was one of the advantages George Washington had at the Battle of Trenton? More supplies, more soldiers, surprise, help from mercenaries. Number 3. Which of the following statements best contrasts the American and British resources during the American Revolution? America had an established, well-organized government, while the British did not. U.S. had plenty of men for an army. Britain didn't. The Americans had full support of the American people, while most in England didn't support their army. Americans knew the land or geography well. British didn't. Number 4. There were some Americans who helped Britain in the Revolutionary War. These Americans were known specifically as Whigs, Tories, Patriots, traitors. Number 5. All of the above factors led to and those factors are geographic isolation, economic restraints connected with mercantilism, sense of being unjustly taxed by Parliament, increased military presence following the French and Indian War. So, all of those factors led to Mayflower Compact, Magna Carta, American Revolutionary War, or French and Indian War. In 1776, Washington and his troops flee to New York. 1777, Americans win the Battle of Saratoga. 1780, the British capture Charleston. 1781, blank. 1783, Americans and the British sign a treaty. Which of the following events completes the timeline above? British surrender at the Battle of Trenton, British surrender at Yorktown, British surrender at the Battle of Saratoga, Americans issued the Declaration of Independence. Number 7. The Battle of Saratoga was a turning point in the American Revolution because the colonists were defeated and lost New York. Native Americans joined in to fight against colonists. Britain was forced to form an alliance with France. The colonial victory got France to side with the U.S. Number 8. The treaty that officially ended the American Revolutionary War was the Treaty of Paris, 1763, the Treaty of Paris of 1783, Treaty of Versailles, the Treaty of Alliance. In the treaty that formally ended the American Revolutionary War, the U.S. received land all the way to the Pacific Ocean, only where the 13 original colonies had been, all the way to the Mississippi River, or there was no land exchanged. Number 10. During the winter of 1777, General George Washington and his troops were at Valley Forge. Here they were living the good life, happy with the way things were, practically without any food, comfortable. Number 11. Why did America have a revolution in the first place? France got us involved in it. We saw France win their revolution and wanted one. Because the Indians urged us to stand up and fight, or we wanted our independence. Number 12. John Paul Jones is best remembered as a fine apprentice to Ben Franklin, a congressman, a Quaker, or Navy commander during the Revolution. Number 13. The battle that encouraged France to sign a treaty and help fight for the U.S. was the Battle of Bunker Hill, Long Island, Saratoga, Guilford Courthouse. Number 14, the last major battle of the Revolutionary War in which General Cornwallis surrendered to George Washington was the Battle of Bunker Hill, the Battle of Trenton, the Battle of Saratoga, the Battle of Yorktown. Number 15, what is the major reason Britain lost to the Revolutionary War? They had poor leaders. Their troops lacked any real motivation. British troops were poorly trained. British troops had outdated weapons. Number 16, the signing of the Declaration of Independence happened between which two of the following events? The adoption of the Articles of Confederation and the adoption of the U.S. Constitution, the Battle of Lexington and the Battle of Yorktown, the end of the Revolutionary War and the beginning of the War of 1812, the Battle of Vicksburg and the Battle of Gettysburg. Number 17, what major era in U.S. history is referred to in the graphic above? Repressive legislation with the Stamp Act and Intolerable Acts, American reaction with the Boston Tea Party and Continental Congress, the decisive battles with Yorktown and Saratoga, the opening battles with Lexington and Concord. So, what major era in U.S. history is referred to in that graphic? Colonial, Civil War, Reconstruction, Revolutionary. Number 18. Which two countries greatly aided the U.S. in its Revolutionary War? Russia and Spain, Canada and England, Spain and France, Germany and Switzerland. Number 19. Which man from France greatly helped the American cause and served in our military without pay? I'm not going to say these names right, I know. Marquis de Lafayette, Bernardo de Galvez, Thaddeus Kosciuszko, Frederick von Steuben. Number 20. Who famously said after fighting for several hours, "I have not yet begun to fight," and became known as the father of the American Navy? George Washington, John Paul Jones, Lord Cornwallis, Patrick Henry. Number 21. Why did the American patriots seem to be no match for Britain in the Revolutionary War? They lacked any real motivation. They had little knowledge of the geography. They lacked a regular army, experience, and weapons. They couldn't shoot at all. Number 22. One result of the American Revolution was that France had their own revolution in 1789. Britain owned the land west of the Mississippi. All Americans got what they wanted. France owned the land west of the Mississippi. Number 23. Refer to the cartoon above. Look at all the things that are represented and the sign that says Declaration of Independence. And I guess the guy is trying to shoot down the birds with his little homemade thing there. Number 23. Which conflict in U.S. history is referred to in the cartoon? World War II, French and Indian War, Revolutionary War, War of 1812. Number 24. Which group does the larger man in the cartoon above represent? The United States, Russia, Great Britain, or France? Number 25. Which group does the smaller man in the cartoon above represent? That'd be the little guy with his slingshot. United States, Russia, Great Britain, France.